Alright, part 2 of the video. Okay. Just continuing on with where we left off last time. You know, and if your hand fares well against your opponent's possible holding, then you must play for your stack. Oh, goddamn phone. I'm not going to answer it. I'm just gonna let it ring. I don't really recognize the number anyway. Okay, alright, I'm gonna fire pot here with middle set. Try and protect this hand as much as possible because middle set is very, very vulnerable, especially when there's other potential draws out there. Okay, I'm just gonna. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, I was also talking about playing the nuts. If you flop the nuts, like flop a straight or something, and you have no redraws or something like that, you know, a straight is the best example I can really give. Like I said, a 3, 4, 7 flop hits, and there's like 2 diamonds out there, and you don't have a diamond flush draw to go with it. Then you must play that hand very cautiously. I mean, of course, bet strong, because you have the nuts, but if you're getting resistance from an opponent, you must try to practice pot control and try and keep that pot small, because when a diamond hits, then you're going to be playing a guessing game. You're going to be put in a very bad spot where you're going to be paying off quite a bit. So you got to try to avoid those situations. I mean, and you're going to be playing a 7, a flopped nut straight. You're going to be playing that all the time. I'm not saying that if you get a shit ton of action on the flop that you should fold. Just be sure to play cautiously. Don't try to get your entire stack in with the nut straight when you have no redraws to like a flush or something if you need it. Because usually in this game you do need it. Redraws are extremely important in this game. Very important. They're heavily overlooked by a lot of micro-stakes players. Alright, we flop, okay, here we go, we flop the nut straight here, and there's 2 hearts out there, we have no hearts. So you gotta play it extremely strong. And if you get a flat call or something, then the odds are they probably either have that flush draw that we're talking about, or they have like 2 pair, and if a brick hits the turn, you must pot bet it again. You have to continue to play the nuts very strong while they are still the nuts. You got to make your opponent pay the ultimate price to draw to whatever he's drawing to. And usually your opponent might get out of the way, but if they don't, just observe what the river is. Think, well, like if a heart doesn't hit, you're gonna think, okay, well, his flush draw missed. But if the board pairs or something like that, then you got to treat that paired board just the same as you would a flush card. You got to treat you have to treat it the exact same way. Okay, now we have bottom set here, and it's been checked all the way around. I'm pretty sure I got the best hand here. We can get some value out of maybe like a 2 pair or something like that, or like someone rivered kings up. Alright, we got value out of that guy. He probably had 2. His most likely holding was 2 pair. Maybe like kings and something. Yeah, he had kings and 3s. And kings and trays. So you're gonna get value from hands like that quite often. You have bottom set. Now we hit bottom set again. I'm gonna pot bet it again. I gotta protect this hand while it's probably still the best. If we get any flat calls, that probably means a straight draw. That jack doesn't really scare me much. It doesn't really blend in with what he could be having. He calls again. That 7 is another brick. He has a buck left. I'm just going to go ahead and put him in. He's pot committed. But yeah, he had a straight draw of some kind, and he blew it. But just the key to coming out on top in PLO is when you go to play for your entire stack, you must know where you stand. You must always know where you stand in the hand. You have to have at least a very good idea of where you are. That's very important to figuring out what outs you have to draw to the best of it and take down the pot. Very important, guys. Very important. Yeah, like I've been playing this, I think, for around maybe 3 hours now, roughly 3 hours, I think. And I bought in for $5 on each of the 2 tables, and I've been doing pretty well. Okay, we get a bet from this guy. I'm just gonna flat call it the overpair. It's not the card I wanted to see. I'm just gonna let it go right there. I picked up an extra straight draw on that card, but still, I just don't. I don't really need to pay off to try and hit, you know. And plus, if another heart comes, then you know I could be in a payoff spot. Like I'll be in a spot where I'm gonna have to pay it off. Like if I hit my straight when a third heart comes, then I might be in trouble. And you guys might notice that I play kind of a lot of goofy hands in Omaha. I mean, of course I do. I mean, but I think that, you know, you don't have to play very tight in this game to be a winner. You can play loose. Of course you can. Just the trick is you got to have the discipline to lay down make a big laydown. See right here, I turn the set, and this guy pot bets it. This is not a bluff. It's not a bluff. I'm just going to tell you right now, it's not a bluff. We are beat. We have no flush outs. The guy has a queen 9 for a straight, more than likely, or he was slow playing a set on the flop. You know, our hand is no good on the turn. It's no good. Trust me. Do not fall into that trap. When you turn that set and you face a pot bet, and there is a hand out there, there are a few hands out there that have you beat, you must fold. You have to let go. That's why I don't mind playing a ton of hands. I do not mind it, because I have that discipline to make a big laydown. I do. And you know, I think that's what has put me over the top and made me a winner in PLO up to this point. I mean, I've played around, I don't know, I'd say about 30,000 hands so far, and I mean 30,000 hands or so in PLO Rush, 5 cent, 10 cent, and I think I've done really well for myself. You know, this game is not as hard as most people think. I mean, people may view this game as a crapshoot. No, it's not a crapshoot at all. There's definitely a method to winning this game. I think I found that method. I mean, at least in the micro stakes. I mean, in the micro stakes, yeah, I think my ploy works. It definitely works. In the higher stakes, you know, people are going to be smarter, you know, and it's not going to work. It's not my plays aren't really probably going to work very well. But in the micro stakes games where you find players that have a tough time letting go of their hands, those are the players you need to take advantage of. You put them on a hand, say you flop like an ace-high flush, and you make a pretty reasonable bet at it, like maybe like 3/4 of the pot, and you get a flat call. Then when the turn hits and the board doesn't pair, so you got to put these guys on maybe on a weak flush or a set. If you get a call in that situation when you flop the nut flush, you got to put them on a set or a weaker flush. And if the turn card hits and it's a total brick, and the board doesn't pair, you have got to bet the pot. You must bet the pot, because when you bet the pot on the turn, when a brick hits, then you're going to be putting a set under a lot of pressure. But the beautiful thing about it is they are more than definitely going to put you on a made flush. They're going to think, well, you know, if I have a set and if I call this one bet on the turn, the board pairs in the river, I'm going to take his stack. You're going to make your opponents think that, and they're going to pay your turn bet off, and when the river card comes another brick, you just won that pot. You know, you won it. It's an extra, it's a nice big extra bet that you won on the turn because you put your opponent on a hand and you executed correctly. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and cut this second part off. I'll make a final part to the video, and so stay tuned for part 3.